Hey guys, thanks so much for being here with me today for your reading. Today we are going to be looking at the next steps that Spirit wants you to take on your journey. I do have 3 piles here. I don't have specific indicators, so it's just the cards you see on your screen right now. Pile 1 is going to be the Sun card, Pile 2 is going to be the Flame card, and Pile 3 is going to be the hand with the eye in it. I don't know, I really liked this cute little thumbnail, so I hope you appreciate it. I will have timestamps down below. Once you find your reading, you can head there whenever you'd like. I'll have decks listed down below as well if you're interested. Everything I'm pretty sure is from Tarot Stack other than the Ethereal Visions Tarot and the Wild Unknown, because that I bought for Barnes & Noble. But without further ado, I think I'll just leave you here for your pile selection. If you're interested in the breakdown, here it is. We're going to be looking at where you're at currently, where you want to go in the future, the next steps to reach that, and then what's holding you back, what's pushing you forward, and some general advice at the end. But, okay, now's the time where I will leave you to it so you can, I'll play some pretty music and you can choose your pile, and I'll see you there. Bye, guys. Hey Pile 1, thanks so much for being here with me today for today's reading. We are going to be looking at the next steps on your journey. And there is a lot to go through here today. I'm expecting this reading to be about 30 minutes long. We'll see how it kind of turns out, how the messages flow. As always, take what resonates here and leave what doesn't. These readings are for a general audience, so just keep that in the back of your mind while we are reading here today. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. These oracles are going to be saved to the end, as always, so I'm going to have those live right over here. Let's start out with your first 2 cards. We're starting out with the Venom and the Nectar. It's really interesting. I've been noticing a lot of dichotomy as I've been practicing this spread to see how it will work in practicality. And a lot of times there's like opposites here. And essentially what these cards are representing is where you are starting versus where you want to go. So this is kind of the end goal, but this is where we're located right now in our life. So what I'm being shown right now is someone running on a treadmill or like on an elliptical or one of those Stairmaster machines, and someone is going as fast as they can, kind of like using all of their resources, but they can't get the machine to stop. So if I put that here, it's almost like an energy of spinning on a hamster wheel, and this could be like in a workplace, or there's some sort of situation in your life that kind of makes you feel like you're running on empty, like you're constantly having to provide, that you're constantly kind of like the burden and the responsibility falls on your shoulders for this thing, whether that is deserved or not. If I put this in an example of like workplace, this would be like someone who is working super hard at their 9 to 5, really trying to prove their worthiness to like a boss, but this boss just doesn't see how hard you're working, and they just keep piling more and more and more on, and it's like nothing you do makes them happy. Or this could honestly be a relationship as well. Maybe you feel like you have to walk on eggshells around a specific person, or you feel like this person is kind of stuck in their toxic ways and they're rubbing their toxicity off on you, not in the way of like you are acting out of character, but in the way of like when we are around someone who is constantly pushing our buttons or constantly spewing negativity our way, it can kind of make us feel like doo-doo, you know? And it kind of brings our energy down. We don't really know how to alchemize that sometimes, especially if this is someone you're close with and they're just really not making you feel good, not making you feel loved or appreciated. And I almost feel a sense of like, you guys don't know why this is happening. like everything was good at first, but now things are kind of like out of your control. And it feels almost like a reality shift. Like one day things just change, or like one day this person just decided to have it out for you. Some of you guys may be struggling with past family patterns that are continuing through you. So, for example, let's say your parents have workaholism, and so they deem all of their worthiness on whether they are able to be the best employee or how much they're able to get done, like productivity. And let's say, you thought you've really worked through a lot of family patterns, but now you're going through the same cycle of running on the hamster wheel and feeling like you're going to lose everything if you don't work harder, which is then exerting more of your energy and causing you to be maybe crabby at work, or like crabby to your friendships, stuff like that. And it's like there's a major imbalance here where something has become toxic and it's rubbing off on you. And I'm saying it's rubbing off on you because I don't think like this has been something that has gone on for a really long time. I feel like this is a recent shift inside you where you're just like, I'm getting the sense like you can't handle, not saying like you can't handle something. Let me try to think of the words. Like the pressure has become too much, and it's like unfairly being put on you, but you're not recognizing the unfairness right now, like where the source is coming from. And so you're like turning the poison on yourself, and you're saying, oh, I guess I'm not that great of an employee, or I guess I need to try harder in this relationship, like I've done something wrong. And it's honestly, it's not about you right now, sweets. Like, I'm gonna pull out my Hermit Tarot voice. It is not about you. I feel like you've been put in this situation to show you your true worth. And if you're in a situation where you're like, I don't know why these people treat me this way, I don't know why, because I would never treat other people like that. That's the point. Like, you would never treat other people like that. And it's not your fault that they're deciding to target you or treat you falsely. And it's almost like you need to kind of like stand up for yourself in a way. And we'll definitely pull some more cards, but it's like I'm getting a sense like there's going to be a straw that almost breaks the camel's back, where you really realize like this is not it. This situation cannot go on how it has recently, and there either needs to be a conversation with the other party involved, or maybe it's time to look for a different job. Like, if this boss is not seeing how hard you're working, that's unfair to you, and that's obviously going to harm your self-worth, because if someone is purposely going out of their way to not recognize your hard work, whether it's their own like judgments against themselves or not, like it's not your responsibility to cater to someone who can't be pleased. That's kind of the main message here. Now, with Nectar, as far as where you want to go, this talks about really being a healer, really being a strong presence in other people's lives, almost like a good example. I am getting like a strong inner child. Maybe you feel recently like you've had to be disconnected from your inner child, or even like fun, enjoyment, things like that have kind of been set on the back burner because either workplace colleagues or someone in this situation gets upset at you for being happy or for being fulfilled and cheerful, which I want to say is completely the other party's responsibility to handle. This is not yours. Like, if someone is treating you badly because they have not healed a part of themselves, like, I really get the sense that this person is upset at you because you reflect a version of themselves that they had to shut away in order to like cope with some sort of life circumstance, and they haven't healed from that. Even if it's happened like years, like 30 years ago, they haven't healed from that, and now they see anyone who exerts those same qualities as bad, or that they need to change or something. And that's why I definitely get like this is a very unfair circumstance on your behalf. I feel like you want to go back to having fun and seeing the joy of life and feeling fulfilled, feeling like you're excited for the next day. I get the sense that you feel sluggish when you get out of bed. Maybe you guys are struggling with depression for the first time and you're like, why do I feel so bad? Why can't I get out of bed? Why am I just being weighed down right now? And it's literally because you're in a very toxic situation, hon. There needs to be a removal. It's almost like you're burnt out from this situation, and the reason you're just not feeling like yourself is because you're so burnt out and you need time to recharge and go back to who you've always been. It's funny because in the guidebook here it actually says it is the mystic who, like Krishna, turns poison into nectar, and it is the truth that can often serve as a potent elixir for healing. So maybe to like get through this situation, you guys have been telling yourselves like false things about yourself, going back to the I'm a bad employee or I just need to work hard. You're putting so much pressure on yourself because of this external pressure that is not fair, and you really need time for healing to release that narrative that doesn't serve you anymore. Like, this part of you that has been shamed does not deserve to be shamed. I think this is a case of letting too many people walk all over you, or like not believing in your own power. Because it's hard when we're being faced with so much opposition. It's so easy to be like, oh my gosh, am I the problem? Like, am I actually causing all this drama right now? And I think you're a very kind soul who likes to see the best in others. And maybe you don't even like pointing out other people's flaws. And that just goes to show how beautiful and kind your soul is. But I think you really need to figure out what is you versus what is other people. And then you'd realize, like, oh crap, like everything that these people have been saying is absolutely not true about me. Like, I've been running around town like for 8 hours versus Joe here who's been here for 4. Like, you're gonna see where it's more of like a personalized attack for no reason rather than something that is actually wrong with you. I hope this is making sense. Like, you really just need time to come back to yourself and to have fun. So maybe if you guys can take like a week off from this situation, or like if this is a relationship partner, I need you to like take a week from this and see how much better you feel, because someone is like being an energy vampire right now and they're draining you of all of your life force, which I don't like seeing. But if that's resonating for your situation, let's go ahead and pull out the tarot. Today we are going to be using the Ethereal Dreams, or is it Dreams? Ethereal Visions Tarot. I'm sorry. Ethereal Visions Tarot. And I'm just going to pull 4 cards, and we're just going to ask what the next steps are for you to become the nectar. So Spirit, this actually came out reverse. We've got the 3 of Wands. What are the next steps, Spirit, for pile 1? She's thinking. What are the next steps? So it's interesting. I've been paying attention to how the deck shuffles, and the first card flew out really quickly, but now it's like taking some time. So I feel like there's going to be some sort of break in the connection or some sort of massive realization that allows you time to break away from this and heal. But then it's going to have some contemplation time where you're like thinking, did I make the right decision? Where do I go next? That kind of thing. But let's pull some more cards. What are the next steps for pile 1? Got the Ace of Pentacles, Next steps. We've got the Artist, reverse, and the Two of Pentacles. So, with the Three of Wands, I feel like this is talking about letting someone down. And, like, you can do this in whatever way makes sense for you, but I am getting the sense, like, maybe you've been holding on to this thing because other people don't, like, they don't have the full picture. So from an outsider's perspective, they're like, oh, this is, like, such a great opportunity. Oh, you're doing a great job. Like, don't worry, like, some people are just hard asses. It can't be that bad. And I think because they're an outsider and they don't have the full picture, like, if they were in there, they would immediately tell you, like, you need to get away from this situation. But, like, especially if this is a workplace, say, like, a friend of yours got you the job at this position, and you like don't want to disappoint them because, like, maybe it took a lot of work to talk to the big boss to let you in, and you're like, oh, I just have to put up with a whole bunch because, like, this is a huge opportunity. I might not have gotten anywhere else. Like, I just need to bunker my head down, blah blah blah. I don't want to disappoint anyone. But I think it is necessary for you to disappoint this person, or to, like, disappoint a boss or something. Like, if you leave this position or if you leave this relationship, it's literally what's best for you, but there are some disappointments that might follow with this decision. And all I have to say is, like, if people try to talk you out of this decision, don't listen to them, because you're the person who has to put up with this energy all the time. You're the person who's being drained by this situation, and you're the person who's actually experiencing everything, like all of this toxicity. You know what you feel, and I want to say, don't let anyone gaslight you out of your situation. And sometimes I think people have the best intentions. Like, say a parent doesn't want you to quit your job because, like, stability and security, duh, but they don't have the full picture, and so they might be like, oh, every job is hard, like, you're not gonna find another job that's like this, blah blah blah. And that's kind of disheartening, because your parent is supposed to be the person who supports you and, like, not agrees with everything, but, like, if you tell them that you're in a toxic situation, they're supposed to help you get out of it, not encourage you to stay in it. And I think there might be a little bit of that going on, where you have to disappoint people because you have to do what is best for you. And it's almost like you might not even know where you're going next, but you just know that you can't put up with this energy anymore. And maybe you're even scared of, like, if this is a relationship partner, maybe you're scared of maybe their retaliation, or what people would think if you just, like, up and left this person. Maybe this person has a good standing with other people, but behind closed doors they're a little toxic. And maybe you share a friend group and you're scared of losing that, but it's like, wouldn't you rather enjoy yourself and have fun and feel fulfilled alone rather than with this group of people or with this relationship partner? Stop! Enough. Like, you can't settle for less in this situation, because it's just draining you and causing you more harm than good. And you deserve to be happy and fulfilled, and this situation is not it. The Ace of Pentacles is kind of showing me, like, there might be something different that comes along that you never really thought of doing. And it, like, especially if this is leaving a job, say you find a job opening for like a flower shop, and you're like, oh, that's gonna be so boring and so different from what I do right now. Like, I have all these qualifications, I should get something more for myself, but say this is the best thing that is available right now. Like, that job is going to be so much more fulfilling than what you've been doing, and you might even cultivate more abundance for yourself from taking a different job that you've never seen yourself doing ever in your life. And you also might make more money, either from just having more energy to get like another side hustle off the ground, or like this new boss that you get is going to recognize how hard of a worker you are, and they're just going to be promoting you like one after the other, and you're going to find like a bigger position for yourself that creates more abundance without all the toxicity. Now, if this is a relationship, it's also saying like, learn how to cultivate abundance for yourself. Like, really focus on nurturing yourself right now as your next step. It kind of, honestly, this picture right here reminds me of the Nectar card. It's like, figure out, maybe you guys need to write a list of who you were before this toxic situation, before it kind of drained your energy and stuff, and really focus on filling your cup up and creating a solid foundation in yourself. Like, maybe you need to have some vacation time so you can like figure out what happened in this situation, or why you put up with it for so long. Like, were there boundary issues here? Maybe it's a good time to reflect on red flags you saw that you won't put up with in the future. It's a good growth time here after you leave this situation to not necessarily focus on, like, don't focus on what you lost, but focus on what you're cultivating now for yourself. You're in a much better situation, and Spirit is just so proud of you for getting yourself out of that situation. With the Artist reverse, I feel like some sort of creative part of you has been stifled in this situation. And I think you're going to be realizing how much that situation had a grasp on your creativity and how much it affected your mindset. And like, maybe you guys have been kind of in a creative rut recently where you're like, I just don't have any ideas, things aren't flowing. And you've been really like picking apart your ideas or your artwork or your creative hobby, like almost this energy of perfectionism that you haven't dealt with in a while, where you're just judging your creations harshly. And I think you're going to realize that wasn't me all along. This was this external party that, like, their voice was stuck in my head. And I think you're going to have an easier time creating, or there's like a message here that you can release that negative self-talk here, and that's going to open up a whole new window here of finding balance and recognizing what you need in your life for stability. There's just a rebalance of yourself where it's like, I no longer have to exert so much energy, and I'm able to flow freely with the divine and how the universe wants me to flow. I also, going back to this Ace of Pentacles, I think there's a message there. If you will be taken care of monetarily, like leaving this situation is not going to cause you to be in a bad place financially. The universe will take care of you no matter what happens. And I think after you reassess this negative voice that has been in your head, you're able to create more freely and actually even like create more abundance from your creativity as well. Like, you're gonna figure out how to monetize some, like, one of your talents, because you're not bogged down by negative self-talk. Okay, so if that's Cool, that's resonating. Awesome. Perfect. I'm not sure if this is making sense at all. This message has kind of been all over the place, but I hope it's coming across well. Let's move on to what is holding you back right now. We have moonshine with homemade and illumination. I think right now you don't see that there is better for you. Like, maybe that's what's kind of holding you back. Like, this person or this situation has kind of broken your spirits down so much that you don't see better coming for yourself. Like, your confidence is so low right now. And even I'm having troubles with my throat chakra, so maybe like you're having trouble speaking your truth. It's almost like your being, like everything that made you who you are, has been stifled and you've been bottled up. Like, you've been bottling up so much emotions. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are struggling with some sort of TMJ or jaw clicking situation right now, or just like lots of pain in your neck and in your jaw. It's from holding back all of the things that you need to say. I feel like there is like a need to tell someone off or stand up, or like illuminate that you're not someone who can be walked all over. And maybe you're scared of standing up for yourself, like going back to that retaliation message. If this is someone, like, I do not read for abusive situations, but toxic can be anything. So maybe you're scared of this person's words if you stand up to them, or you're scared of, like, I'm hearing you're scared of losing connections. Like, this person or this job could have helped you work your way up in the ranks, and I feel like if you're leaving it a little prematurely, even if it is best for you, you're scared of losing how much you've worked so far, or losing your place in the ranks almost. And it's like, with the homemade message here, I don't think you have to worry. I'm hearing like self-made. You don't need anyone's help to get you where you need to go. By standing up for yourself, you're going to increase your confidence, which will then shift you to a new timeline, you'll notice there'll be more easier manifestations. Things will pick up easier, and honestly, because you're going to be feeling so much better. Like, when you're feeling better, when you're feeling high vibe, when you're feeling like yourself, you're able to manifest so much easier. As far as what will push you forward, we have the mushrooms. So some of you guys could be taking mushrooms soon, and you're going to be seeing, like, you're going to be recognizing or like meeting a new part of yourself, and it's going to be giving you a lot more courage to be who you are unapologetically. The other thing is like seeing the magic in yourself. And going back to that self-made message, like, mushrooms can literally grow anywhere. And I think you need to have that confidence in yourself. Like, no matter how hard things get, you can always start over. You can always rebuild and rebrand. You can become new. And I'm just hearing this, like, I have another oracle card, and it has this message of, see the elegant magic of yourself. And I think that's kind of the message here. You need to see how powerful you are and how you do have control over where your life goes, and it's up to you to make a change any day, anytime. As far as your closing advice, we have the Fae, and this says, not everything is as it may seem. Be cautious, dear one, for there is a story beneath the tale. Oh, let me move this. Okay. So, with the Fae. Faes are tricksters, so there might be a cautionary tale. Like, I think this is saying be cautious of the stories you tell yourself about yourself, because maybe that's how you manifested a situation like this, where people just aren't seeing your worth, or they're treating you poorly. Like, your mindset and how you see yourself is very indicative of what sorts of energies you will accept, because if you see yourself as not worthy or lazy or something, you're gonna manifest people around you who see that as well. And that's not saying that you are that way, but from their perspective, they're gonna see you like that. And so it's like really work on rebranding the narrative, and work on making sure you're holding yourself to the highest standard possible, and you're holding the people who interact with you to the highest standard as possible. Maybe there's a cautionary tale here of like, the first sign of someone treating you poorly should be nipped in the bud at that moment. Like, don't allow people to walk all over you. Okay, so that's all the messages I have here for you today, Pile 1. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to give it a like or subscribe or comment. I love reading comments, but that's all I have for you guys today. Bye, Pile 1. Hey, Pile 2, thanks so much for being here with me for your reading today. Today, we are going to be looking at the next steps on your journey. So we're going to be looking at where you're at now versus where you want to go, and how you can get there, as well as what's blocking you and what is pushing you forward. And then we'll close off with a little bit of advice. If you want a full breakdown, feel free to head back to the intro, listen to the little 10 and 30 second clip. But without further ado, I'm going to take my little candle snuffer out of the frame, and I'm going to put these cards over here for the end, and we're going to start off right here. So, we are starting with the Shapeshifter and the Poet. Very beautiful cards, very beautiful energy that we're starting off with. So, as far as where you're at right now, what the Shapeshifter is showing me is you are at a point in your life where you have your hand in a lot of different baskets, but it's not necessarily by choice. I feel like this pile has a dream of working for themselves, or owning their own business, or doing something more independently that's sort of a passion project, or something that you have a lot of emotional, what's the word? Like, emotional dedication towards, or like your emotions are tied to this thing. This is something that fulfills you, that you want to share with the world and with others. But right now, I feel like you're not at a point where you're able to focus solely on this one thing. And maybe, like, let's say you're in the field that you want to go in. But, for example, if you want to be an actor, let's say you work as a news reporter, you know, during the day, and then you're also acting on the side, and then you're going to acting classes. Like, you are still in the scope of what you want to do, but you're having to play a lot of different roles, and as a form of security. Like, you guys are really having to put security over your passions right now. And I do say right now because this isn't going to be a permanent energy, clearly, because we're going to look at your next steps to get to this Poet point. But I feel like you guys are a little stretched thin right now. You might be feeling a little exhausted, or you might be like forgetting to eat because you're so busy. There is an energy of like overexerting yourself or exhausting yourself and your resources. And maybe there's a little bit of a mindset shift that needs to happen there. Like, it's okay to be doing all these things, but you also have to take care of yourself and your needs in order to stay fresh and continue on this journey that you're going in. But a lot of you, I honestly feel like you don't want to have your hands in all these different baskets. You just want one passion project that you can work on and work towards. Sorry, I'm burping a lot too, so I feel like you guys... Oh my gosh, I feel like you guys might be getting rid of negative energy that has been stored up inside you, or like false beliefs about your quality of work. I feel like you guys are recognizing the importance of being on board with your ideas. I think some of you guys might have had a past where you're like shying away from your talents and your strengths, or you're trying to be humble, but it's to the point where it's detrimental to you, because if you keep telling yourself like, oh, it's not that great, oh, it's whatever, like, it's going to be hard to manifest because your emotions and your mindset aren't on board, and subconsciously you're telling yourself that your ideas aren't grand and fabulous. You really need to be hyping yourself up and hyping up your work. There also might be an energy here of maybe you do enjoy having your hands in a lot of things, but you need to figure out one thing to really put all of your energy towards, because it's great to have your eggs in different baskets as a security measure, but I feel like you're being stretched so thin due to all of this that you're not able to produce as much quality work as you know you can. Or it could be like because you're working so much or you're having to do these roles, you're kind of hitting a plateau point right now where you're not producing as great work right now, but that's only temporary because you're going to be building stamina in order to fit all of these roles right now. And it'll slowly, there will be a slow increase as to your quality if you do want to do like all these different scenarios, you know? It's just you got to have patience, and you've got to have just an appreciation for how much you're doing right now, and recognize that things take time to grow, things take time to build, but after a while, like, you're gonna have, I'm almost seeing this circle in their hands as like a dream, or like a project, or something, like something of the highest quality here. I'm hearing like you might ruffle some feathers with something that you're working on, or the fact that you're working on a lot of things might be ruffling some feathers with people. Maybe people see you as competition, or they're struggling with jealousy around you because you are doing well, even though you are kind of stretched thin right now. There's also a feeling of not being able to express yourself as authentically as you could. Like, maybe you're being censored in some sort of way right now, especially if we like put this in school. Let's say you're going to school for acting, right? And you're having to learn all these different facets that encompass acting. Like, maybe you guys are having to work on things that you think are tedious, or like don't add to your knowledge. I don't know. There seems to be like a going back energy, reworking on things, really solidifying the foundation you have here. And there's also an element of like, maybe you guys are public speakers, or you have a dream to be a public speaker, and right now you're going through a period where you're really solidifying who you are and what message you want to bring to the world. I can see that too, like, especially if you're younger and you've like just realized, maybe you've just realized that you do want to be a motivational speaker, or like your voice is really important to you, you're writing your ideas. There's a hair. It's like you're transforming into the version of yourself that will be able to take the reins and really soar. But right now it's kind of difficult because you're learning so many different things. You're trying to figure out what works, what doesn't. And that might be causing a little bit of blockages, or a little bit of like a stalemate energy here where you feel a little stuck, maybe a little bit like a hangman version right now. But that is only temporary. There's a strong message of this energy being temporary. So if that resonates, cool. Let's go ahead and bring out the tarot. We are going to be reading with the Ethereal Visions Tarot. Very lovely deck, loved it. And there's another hair. Oh my gosh, guys. Someone needs to look up the significance, like spiritual meaning of finding hair everywhere. God. But I'm literally just gonna ask what Spirit wants you to do as far as your next steps, and we're just going to channel from there. So, what should pile 2 do as their next steps? Okay, so the deck is spitting out cards very quickly. We have the 4 of Cups, we have the 7 of Pentacles, and we have the 9 of Wands reversed, and then we're going to get one more, Spirit. What are the next steps for pile 2? All right, actually, it popped out with 2 cards. We're going to take that. We have the 2 of Pentacles reversed and the Artist. And what's funny about this is in pile 1, these cards came out, but it was 2 of Pentacles upright and the Artist reversed. So that's kind of funny there. We're going to see what those messages are. You might have a couple messages in pile 1. If not, no worries. So with the Four of Cups, I'm getting the sense that there's some sort of opportunity or change that you could make in your day-to-day routine right now that could make like leveling up so much easier on you. Or there's like a strong opportunity that you just haven't, or not opportunity, sorry, strong creative idea that is almost going to be like a godsend. Like do you see this cup coming down with little wings? It's like God or whoever you believe in, whatever you believe in, the universe, spirit, they're bringing you a cup of an opportunity, and like you have free will. You don't have to take this idea might kind of come out of the blue. Sorry, I'm channeling right now. The idea is going to come out of the blue, and you might kind of sit on it for a while because this guy is meditating. He's kind of thinking about whether he wants to bring it in or not. He's still kind of questioning whether this is a good idea. But Spirit is literally saying, we brought this to you to level you up and to get you where you want to go. So I feel like if you get a huge opportunity coming soon, or if you get some sort of creative idea, like, it's not just a passing thought. You really need to think about this and observe it and figure out how you can bring it into reality. Like if you're acting, say you come up with a really great story idea or like a great story plot or short film idea stuff. Those ideas aren't just coming to you just for funsies. The universe is like, these are opportunities for you to build your resume and to practice in a more fun way. And like if you're going to school, maybe you don't have fun going to school for acting and you're like, God, I wish I could just really act. And it's like, you can. All these ideas that are flooding to you are there for a purpose. You're supposed to use them and act on them. And like, say you go out and you film a little 5-minute short film with your friends on your cell phone. Say you post that to YouTube and then it gets like 80,000 views. I don't know. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I should have done this so much sooner because I could have had so much more fun with what I'm learning, what I'm doing right now, if I brought all my ideas together and produce something. And I feel like there's a sense here, especially with the Seven of Pentacles, is that it takes time, it takes nurturing, it takes consistency for an idea or a dream to really come true. And it's like, don't doubt yourself if the start of things are a little rocky, or if where you're at, if you're having to do a 9-to-5 and balance a passion project on the side. Don't let that tear your soul apart. Don't let that deter you from continuing on your dream. Like, it's going to be difficult right now, but if you stay consistent, you're slowly going to build an audience, you're slowly going to build a following, and you're slowly going to build a resume of work that is outstanding. And before you know it, you're going to have like a year's worth of work under your portfolio, and you're going to be like, I'm so glad I started now because now I've grown all of this and I can continue to grow on it. Something that I hear all the time is like, especially with manifesting, say you're trying to manifest a YouTube channel blowing up, which kind of relates to me. This would be like advice for me. Even though like my last video flopped, it got like 66 views during the first day, which is like the worst I've ever had. I don't know what happened. It had to have been something like algorithmically that went on. I don't know. Or maybe the video was just a flop. Who knows? But if I continue to produce work, even if I get like no views or something, eventually tides are going to change, a video is going to blow up on YouTube, and then there's going to be an entire library of content that people can watch, which will encourage people to subscribe to, and they'll be able to get to know me more. You know, don't get down on yourself if you don't see the immediate results that you want. That doesn't mean that your content is bad, that doesn't mean that your quality is bad. It's just how life works, you know, and you just got to keep working at it, keep nurturing it, and keep working on your skills and abilities. Something that my director used to tell me is like, you never quit learning. There is always more to learn. There's always more to practice. Never get in the mindset that you are a pro and you don't need any more knowledge. You can always learn more. So there's a big message there. As far as the Nine of Wands reversed, I feel like the Nine of Wands reversed is like, don't let other people's opinions of your work dictate what you do. Just because, let's say, some Joe on the block looks at your YouTube channel or looks at your short films and they're like, that's stupid, I don't get it. But that's just Joe on the Block's opinion. That's not the entire world's opinion. And who knows, Joe on the Block could have no knowledge of how short films work or how storytelling works. But then you go and eventually someone from, like, I don't know, Stanford, like, say they have a really good acting program. Some Stanford teacher could run across your video on YouTube when it has like 15 views, and they're gonna look at it and be like, oh my god, the storytelling is there. I love the use of props and plot. I love how the ideas flowed, and I love the ending message, and the acting was amazing. Like, you can't take what people say to heart, especially if they don't have the qualifications to talk about what you're doing. So for me as well, like, I've had some negative comments on my videos, and I'm like, that kind of hurt. Like, that's kind of mean. Like, why would you say that? But then you go on their channel, they're not a tarot reader. They don't have anything on their social media about tarot or like spiritual skills. So it's like, look at who is criticizing you and see if you would swap lives with them, if you want to do what they're doing. Like, if someone has no clue what you're doing, don't worry about their opinion, because it doesn't matter what they say. And I know that can be kind of harsh, but especially like family members or friends, if you're worried about what they say about your work, it doesn't matter. Like, they really don't matter. And if they choose to not support you, then that just shows like how shitty of a friend they are, or like that just shows that your family member isn't supportive. That doesn't mean that your work isn't good, okay? Don't let other people's opinions or criticisms or like anyone who's looking down on you for the path you've chosen, don't let that affect you, because you know what is best for you. You know where you want to go, and you know what is quality versus what is not. I won't say I hate, but I get upset when people are so quick to criticize someone, because it's like, someone who has produced their work is going to stare at it for hours, maybe even days upon end. They're going to pick apart every single little thing, and whatever you're going to write, like a little criticism, they've probably been aware of it, but like, they're still learning, they're still practicing, so they just wanted to post it, but they're going to take those criticisms from themselves and learn later. Like, you don't have to point it out. I don't know. I've just noticed that everyone is so quick to point out other people's flaws in their work or whatever, but then, like, I bet 99% of the time, if you went to their page and they were posting something and you criticized them, they would be all upsetty spaghetti. So just recognize where the source of criticism is coming from and whether you want to take it or not, because you don't always have to take it, and not everyone is always correct. There is a message here with the Artist and the Two of Pentacles that there might be a need to get more organized, like create a system for yourself. I think that would help, especially if we have some neurodivergent people here. Hello, me too. Systems can like make someone go crazy. I don't like admitting that I need a routine and that I need a system for things. I wish I could just like plop these cards out and just channel, but no, I have to practice, I have to get myself in the mindset, and I need things to be done a certain way for my brain to work. And I think there's a message here of like, don't bag on yourself for being different from other people and needing different things. Some of you might not be able to focus super well in class, which is why you need some extra time set aside at home to be able to practice in the quiet, or to be able to teach yourself certain things that you weren't really able to pay attention to in class. There's no shame in needing extra time in order to get the hang of something. And there's no shame in being a beginner at something. Everyone starts as a beginner. You can't turn into like Steven Spielberg unless you were a beginner, you know? It takes time to cultivate, how do I say this? It takes time to cultivate your face and like the name of what you're trying to produce. And I think the biggest thing that could get in the way of your success is A, not being consistent, and B, not, like, having that routine is what's going to help you be consistent. And consistency, practicing every single day, even if it's just 15 minutes a day, that is going to make the difference from someone else. Today, so I'm a news reporter, and I just interviewed one of our star soccer players who is moving on to a D1 school for soccer because she is amazing. And even Like, she was talking about how much extra work she had to put in outside of normal practice hours and outside of her normal work routine, her normal school routine. Like, she is a full-time student, full-time athlete, and full-time worker, you know? And she still put in those extra hours outside of class and outside of coaching to be as great as she was, because she had a goal a year ago that she wanted to make the most goals in an entire nationwide D2 school, and she did that. And it all started with a goal that she worked extra hard for, and then it cultivated, and now she's reaping the rewards. And that's kind of what's going on here. You guys are putting in the practical effort, practical work, set a routine for yourself, and the results will follow. You can only control what you can control, and the universe wants to reward you with all the effort you've been putting in. So stay consistent, don't doubt yourself, and don't let other people bag on your work just because they want to be negative Nancy's, you know? Okay, now let's move on to our, if I can pick it up, our closing oracles. So this is what is blocking you or holding you back the most right now. And we have black coffee with clarity, fresh start, and new energy. Just going back to the stretched thin message, you guys haven't been fueling your body right, or you need like a consistent sleep, eat schedule, like exercise routine. You guys might want to assess your diet, because like coffee, ingesting coffee daily, it can like get your body in a habit of only feeling ready if you have coffee. Sorry guys, I had to sneeze too. And it's like, there are better ways to fuel your body for more energy and to stay consistent with your goals. Like if you are an athlete and you're working out all the time and you want to hit a certain weight or something, like don't focus on the weight. Focus on feeling better, fueling your body, because when you feel better, that's what's the most important. It doesn't matter about aesthetics. It doesn't matter about your weight. Like, pay attention to how you feel. You might be getting the aesthetic results you want, but are you feeling well? Are you able to keep up with your work schedule? Are you able to stay consistent with your goals? Those are the types of things you got to think about, especially when it comes to diet and exercise and stuff. Diet and exercise can make a huge difference in someone's productivity as well as how sharp their mind is. Like, maybe you're feeling a little sluggish recently, or you're just not having the ideas flow. Eat a vegetable. Go for a run. Focus on fueling your body with foods that make you feel good inside and make you glow on the outside. That's my biggest advice. As far as what will push you forward, we have the Cancer. So I feel like this is kind of a message of having a really hard outer shell and not letting other people's opinions or viewpoints of you or your work affect you, but then you can still stay soft and mushy on the inside and delectable and juicy on the inside. I don't know. Shout out if you guys like eating crabs too. There's a message there of not letting people get to the bone or get to the core of you, because what other people say doesn't matter. And you shouldn't let what other people say or see or view about you affect your work or your quality. If you like what you're producing, that's all that matters, and the rest will follow. Now, if you have like a Stanford acting coach call you out and say like, hey, you should maybe change this next time, maybe you should listen to them, but you know what I'm saying, okay? Pay attention to who matters and who doesn't, and whose opinions you are letting dictate your work right now. Have a harder outer shell, because everyone out there is always going to have something to say, and it truly, honestly does not matter unless you let it matter. Okay, and then your closing advice is Green Man, and it says, all that I desire comes easy to me and effortlessly. I know this to be true, for I am abundant in all that I do. Yeah, go back to just like, I think you guys need to Practice affirmations, and I hate this advice too, guys, but it really does work. Practice affirmations in the mirror. If you're down on your view count or you're feeling like you're not getting the results you want for the work you put in, just practice patience and practice looking yourself in the mirror and telling yourself that you are abundant, that you are worthy of success. I feel like you guys need a mindset shift as far as success. Like subconsciously, you guys might be believing that you're not worthy, which is in turn being reflected in your outward reality. But if you really truly start believing that you are worthy of success and everything that you want to cultivate, then it'll come to you like butter. Okay, so that's all I had for you, pile 2. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks so much for being here for today's message. Feel free to leave a like, a comment, or subscribe. I would love to have you join the Mellow Yellow Tarot family anytime you would want. But that's all I have for you guys today. I'm gonna leave it there. Bye, pile 2. Hey Pile 3, thanks so much for being here with me for today's reading. If you clicked on this video, we are going to be looking at your next steps on your journey. So this is going to look at where you're at currently versus where you want to go, and then the steps leading to that, and then some general advice and closing statements, I guess, from Spirit. But these are going to live right over here until the end. The tarot we are going to be using today is Ethereal Visions Tarot. Love this one. Oh, there's a card flipped over. Let's see what we have. We have the Knight of Swords. So quick incoming communication. Let's see what happens there. Maybe you guys need to speak your truth about something, or you just need to get things off your chest. But let's look at where you're at right now, and that is the Shadow. Very interesting. And then where you want to go, we have the King. So hello, any of my masculine aligned tarot peeps. Sorry, I don't know why I was having a brain fart there. Hello, any masculine aligned energies that are watching me. You don't have to be a masculine aligned energy in order to watch this, but just for instance, like, I align with masculine energy more than I do feminine energy. It doesn't mean that I identify as a boy, so I'm just gonna put that out there. But let's go ahead and start channeling. So for this group, there is an energy of not necessarily being in the best place in your life, or I feel like this group has been recognizing a lot of false truths that they used to believe in the world, or that their family maybe told them about the world, like some sort of reality shattering going on here, a rejection of what you always thought was true, an altering of energies, a difference in opinion. I feel like this group has almost had maybe an ego death or a dark night of the soul, where they're starting to realize that the things that they always believed to be true might not be as black and white as they think. And you're starting to realize where maybe black and white thinking got you in trouble. Not in trouble as in like, you're in trouble, young man, like, you better shape up. But I mean like, where your darker energies might have allowed you to project onto people that were undeserving, and that was because of some sort of shadow inside yourself that you have blocked off. Like, you didn't try to face it, didn't try to align with it. And so you're starting to realize where maybe you were wrong in certain situations, or you're starting to gain a wider perspective of situations and how the world works. And it might honestly hurt a little bit to make these realizations, and that's totally okay. I've been in this energy too, and it's all a cycle. One day we start here, and then another we're going to be the king, and we'll talk about how you reach the king. But you can't have the light energies without the dark. And I've been noticing a lot of dichotomy today in everyone's readings. There's always like an opposites here, which is very interesting. I think there also might be a rejection of self in the ways of like, you don't want to align yourself with certain energies. Maybe this is realizing a certain group that you surround yourself with is not healthy for where you want to go, and so you're starting to make changes there, figuring out what your soul truly does want to do. I feel like this group is doing a lot of awakening, a lot of spirit shadow work right now. You could also be doing some very deep work in therapy right now, and that can bleed over into our real life. You know, when we're spending so much time working on ourselves and trying to heal these unhealed parts of ourselves from childhood trauma or just trauma in general, sometimes we can't be the best person that we know we can be. And that's okay. I don't want you guys to blame yourself or feel like you need to show up as a better version. Because if you're doing your best that you can right now and then you just make a couple mistakes, like that's a part of the learning and growing process. There could also be people here who just don't understand what you're going through. They don't understand the weight of your situation. Maybe you guys are in a very bad financial pinch or a very bad living situation, and the people you're surrounded by just don't understand why you've been so down. And it's like, well, because I'm in a really bad situation, you know? Like, I want to empathize with you guys. You guys, what you're going through right now is not easy. And I think you've been tricked or gaslighted by people around you into thinking like it shouldn't bother you this much. And I just want to say, like, that is bullcrap. Like, for lack of a better word, if you're going through a difficult time and you have the strength within yourself to recognize, like, hey, I cannot be the best me right now. I'm going through a bad time right now. Things are going to be a little rocky with me. Like, if you have the strength to recognize that within yourself and other people don't, that's their prerogative. That's their issues, you know? That's not your fault, and you shouldn't listen to anyone who's trying to say that you need to change right now, because you are already in an active change. You are trying to make changes for the better. You want to become the king, which we'll talk about in a second. But you have to start at the shadow here, because the king has met his shadow and he's incorporated it. Do you see how it's like his hand is still black and white, just like this photo, but he's incorporated the light and the dark in order to reach the full power of the king. And it's like, you know now that you can't reach your highest success unless you've met the parts of yourself that you're not too happy with, or that you've healed from issues and traumas that still continue. Like, what's an example I have? I'll just use me as an example because, like, I'm not trying to make it about me, but this is, like, the way I can explain it the best. I, once upon a time, had a very, very hardcore, like, to the heart core fear of abandonment and feeling like nobody liked me. And because I was living with that active fear and I wasn't facing it, I wasn't dealing with it, I wasn't getting myself help in the world around me, because I was assuming everyone hated me, I was overdoing things. I was trying to make everyone like me. I was a total people pleaser, which is manipulation at its core, but like, obviously, I didn't have manipulative intentions, but I was doing things that I wasn't even aware of were maybe not the best in order to facilitate connection and even romance, you know, friendship. I wasn't creating a safe space for two people to become themselves. I was really trying to control everything. And I feel like this, my example doesn't have to fit 100% with your situation, but that's just going to show how unhealed wounds can show up in our everyday reality, and they can make issues because we're still harboring that sort of feeling inside. And I think you've recognized that it's time to face the demons, essentially, is what I'm hearing. And that doesn't mean that you're a bad person, and that doesn't mean that you're unfixable or like you're less than others. True strength comes from going through hardship and still standing up on the other side. And that doesn't mean that you have to stand up immediately. It took me 6 years to get my life back on track after my mom died. 6 years, guys. Like, 6 years of being in a horrible trap within my own making, because, and not to fully blame myself, because you guys aren't fully to blame either, but it's just like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to heal myself. I didn't know where I was going. It took me 6 years to stand up after that. But I still stood up. And that's where the true strength lies. Don't guilt yourself. Don't let anyone else guilt yourself or make you feel bad for maybe not recovering as like on the timeline that they expected you to. If other people have expectations or put expectations on your healing journey, like maybe you shouldn't surround yourself with them because they are not healthy for your healing right now. No one should put an expectation on when you're healed. We are constantly healing and growing throughout this lifetime. There is always going to be something that bothers us. There is always going to be trauma that we need to heal from. That's just how life works. But you guys right now need to be surrounded by people who have met their shadow, has gone through healing, and maybe you this is your first time going through a situation like this where you're just not feeling yourself and you're not connecting with the people around you. And I think it might be time to look for some sort of support group who understands what you're going through, or make friends who have gone through intensive healing like what you're doing, because they're going to get it. The ones that get it, the ones that don't. And it doesn't mean that you have to cut off all your friends who don't get it, but it just means you might benefit from spending more time with people actively healing than your normal friends that you've always hung out with. And it might almost be like a break to yourself. Maybe you guys feel like you have to put on a mask or perform in front of these friends, and then when you get home you're so exhausted because you're literally pretending to be okay when you're not. And you don't need to put up a show. You don't need to present a certain way for people to like you. And if you're worried about opening up about your struggles and worried about whether these people are going to stay around you or not, that should be the least of your worries, because what you should do, or recognize at least, if they leave you or act really bad towards you after opening up about your struggles, that's completely their issue and their thing to sort out. That is not a reflection of you at all. But I don't know. I'm just going to leave that there. I could talk about this for a really long time as someone who's done a lot of shadow work and facing your shadow, facing the bad parts of yourself. Not bad, but the parts we're not happy with. As someone who's gone through this work many, 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 many years, I support you and I stand with you, and I recognize how difficult this period can be, and I admire your strength and I admire your vision of wanting to go become the king. Because let's talk a little bit about the king. The king has immense strength that can't be shaken from anyone else. How they're kind of showing it to me is almost like a not chess. Hold on, what am I being shown right now? Sorry. You guys want to become the leader. You guys want to show people that it is possible to bounce back, that it is possible to not be broken. I don't know why it's being brought to me like that. Hold on. Because I'm seeing the movie Unbreakable. If you guys know that movie, it's an incredible story. It is a wartime story. I believe it's World War II. And then a few American soldiers get taken as prisoners of war to Japan, or I can't remember which place it was, but they're taken as prisoners of war, and this one guy, he has an unbreakable spirit, and I don't know, it's just a wonderful story, and that's kind of what's being shown here. You want to show that no matter how many punches get thrown towards you, no matter how many difficulties you have, you are still you are still brave, you are still commanding, you are still confident. You have so much power within you, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is a group of strong leaders in the future. Some of you guys have big, lofty goals. You want to have an influence on people, and I absolutely see that in the cards for you. You will make it through this tough period, and you will become the king, and that's simply because you have the will to do so. You're not the type to just give up when the going gets tough. And that's what's going to make you such an excellent leader, because you are going to be able to inspire people. You are going to be able to cheer people on when they're at their lowest. Your story is going to show people that, not that like there could be worse situations. I hate when people compare trauma like that, but you're going to show people that even people who go through insurmountable challenges like this can come up on top. It's almost like whoever you believe in, whatever you believe in, God, Allah, Spirit, the universe, whatever is working or orchestrating things for you, it's like they chose you, or you chose this as your destiny, whatever you believe in, and they're using you as a tool of inspiration and a tool of great leadership in this lifetime. Like, I really feel a strong, powerful energy here. You guys are going to be the ones who spark change in the world. You guys are going to be the Martin Luther Kings. You guys are going to be the prisoners of war who never lost their spirit. These are all just examples. You guys have strength like no other in this world. And I hate when people are like, God gives his strongest battles to his strongest soldiers or whatever. Like, I don't like that, because I don't think anyone deserves to go through horrible times like this. I know I didn't deserve to go through horrible times like this. But sometimes I think it almost helps with the healing journey to keep in mind that your suffering has not been in vain. There will be a purpose to this, and maybe that's why I'm here, is just to encourage you and to let you know that there is a light at the end of this dark tunnel, and things won't always be this challenging. Things won't be black and white. You will find color again, and I can't tell you when that's going to be, and I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be easy or that all you have to do is meditate and pray. I'm not going to do that to you, because I've been through situations like that. Sometimes it's all about riding the current out and then doing what you can to keep yourself sane, in all honesty, and also keep nurturing yourself and do what you can to take care of yourself until you're out of this challenging period, and then you can take those active steps to build yourself up. Because I wouldn't recommend trying to create these crazy changes in your life right now, because you guys are tired, you know? And it's okay to be tired. It's okay to go easy on yourself. You guys don't have to constantly be working on yourself or constantly trying to better yourself. You have your whole life ahead of you. Things don't have to be figured out right now. All you need to do is to take things day by day and keep your dream alive for the future. So, if that resonates, let's go ahead and bring out the tarot and see what steps Spirit would like you to take on your journey next. I'm just going to do a little shuffle. And then I don't have different questions. I'm literally just going to ask what the next steps are, and we're going to pull 4 or 5 cards. Okay, so Spirit, what are the next steps? Okay, the deck is coming out quickly. Okay, we've got it. We've got Ace of Wands reversed. We've got 8 of Cups. We've got Justice reversed. We've got the 7 of Swords. And we have Strength in reverse. Okay, let's chat about your next steps. There's a message here of not giving a crap what other people think about you, or not comparing your journey or where you're located at to other people. And here's another example. The examples are sometimes the best way I can kind of show this to you, and I feel like sharing my life story helps us connect as well. So excuse me if you guys don't like hearing about my life, but it's like when I was in high school, my mom died and my whole life shattered around me. Everything changed, and I was constantly when I went into high school, I was like, I want to be valedictorian, I am brilliant, I can do this, confidence at an all-time high. And when she died, I couldn't pick myself back up at all. And I was looking around at all these other people who were getting straight A's, whereas I couldn't even pay attention in class without starting to sob or break down, you know? And I was constantly beating myself up for not being able to heal as quickly or comparing myself to other people's situations. And there's a main message here of like, everyone has a different story, a different book in their life, and everyone's story is going to be completely different. The timings of things are going to be completely different, but it all ends in a beautifully crafted book. And Spirit wants you to not get so upset about where you're at in your life right now. Some people reach major success when they're children and they go on to be stars. Some people don't reach it, don't win their first Oscar until they're like 50. I mean, look at Key from Everything Everywhere All at Once, the actor Key. He just won his first Oscar, and his speech was beautiful and amazing, but he gave up on his dreams because there weren't opportunities in film for Asian actors at that time. And when he decided to give it another go, boom, now he's got this not brand new, but this second wave of his career booming now. And that's kind of what Spirit wants you to understand, is like, don't get discouraged at the setbacks that you're facing right now, because it's all a part of your story. This is so important for who you are meant to be and who is going to look up to you in the future. With the Eight of Cups, I do feel like there is something that you need to walk away from or take some distance with. This could be talking about the group of people that you're surrounded with that we were talking about, or just distance yourself from people who are trying to put expectations on you when they don't understand what you're going through. This is a time where you're really supposed to solidify with yourself, because, like, example, if your mom died at 15, no one else in my high school understood what that was like, you know? No one else had their mom die, and I felt so alone, and that's what I feel like you're going through right now. Like, you feel so alone, you feel like no one understands, and you feel like you're looking at this mountain, and you're just like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this terrain. This is rocky, this is impossible. You are meant to show people that the impossible is possible. Like, I'm pretty sure by the time I graduated high school, I mean, I almost failed high school, like, literally. And I've always had straight A's. And I'm pretty sure that when I graduated, everyone in my class was kind of like, I don't know what Kirsten's gonna do with her life. We're just gonna pack her neatly in a box and put her away, and we're never gonna, we're not gonna think about that. But I made it, and I've got a pretty cool job now, and I'm feeling so much better than I was in high school. And so you might be worried about being forgotten about, or worried about missing out on the opportunities around you because of your life circumstances, and that is totally valid. I want to be here as a voice for you of understanding. It's not fair what you're going through. And things are challenging. This mountain that you need to pass is challenging and difficult, and it's going to take some time. Don't be afraid of taking breaks along the way. Don't feel rushed to climb this mountain immediately. And don't let other people's voices of doubt or like lowball comments, don't let it get to your head, and try your best to separate yourself from other people's narratives of your life. You are the person writing the story of your life, and you get to be in charge of what the ending looks like. You might not be able to control some of the crazy climax events that happen in your life, but you get to control how you respond to it. And if it takes 6 years or 10 years to recover from something, so be it. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, and you don't have to rush your healing. with justice reverse. Pay attention to anyone right now who is abusing their power. And that's a very interesting message. So, like, say you are in a horrible living situation and you can't get out of it. Is someone purposely using the fact that you can't get out of this situation as a reason to fire you from a job? Or are they actively choosing to just not show empathy to you right now? Because I went through this too. I was fired from a job that was, well, I wasn't fired. I quit before they fired me, but I knew it was coming. And it was, now that I'm grown and I'm in therapy and I've been able to look back at this situation, I did not deserve all of the false lies they were saying about me. Like, everything they were saying was strictly from their lens, because they were not in my horrible living situation. They were not living on dirt cheap, like, money. Like, I was barely eating, and these people just did not get it, and they kept piling more work on me, and they were not appreciating me. And I feel like you're going through a similar situation. Pay attention to anyone abusing their power and try to analyze whether what they're saying is true or not, because you might find out the narrative that they're putting on you is absolutely false. And that could be also people that you need to separate yourself with. And maybe you really love your job, but is it truly worth your sanity right now? Is it truly worth your confidence and your self-esteem? You might need to alter some things in your life, or go to a slower paced job, go to a place where you have less responsibilities on your back so you have some room to breathe, because right now your focus is healing and building yourself up, and you might not be able to operate 100% in a space that you were able to before the trauma, you know? You still need time and grace to heal, and I just don't want you to take other people's projections on as your own, because that is not fair to you, especially if no one understands what you're going through. So I'm actually going to read from a guidebook, but this is the Gentle Heart Tarot Guidebook. Vanessa Simina, guys. I absolutely want you, if you're into tarot and you're wanting to learn, get the Gentle Heart Tarot or some sort of tarot from Vanessa Simina, because the guidebook, the way she describes these cards, they just make so much more sense than anything else I've read, and it's a perfect guidebook and a perfect deck for beginners. But I'm going to read the passage of the Seven of Swords, because I think this kind of encompasses what we've been talking about, and I think she says it a lot better than how I can vocalize it. So, a lot is going on with you internally as you take into account all angles of the situation at hand. You are determined to remain resourceful and practical in your approach towards life. Trying a new strategy towards overcoming a personal or professional challenge may have to be done privately before you can reveal to your family what you've been working on. This is especially true if you frequently find that your friends and family cannot quite grasp what the future plans you're working on. The words may discourage you, their words may discourage you, which is why the only logical way to move forward right now is to follow your heart and let all else fall into place. I'm telling you guys, this is all about you and what you want to do, what changes you want to make. You should not be listening to anyone's opinion on anything right now. Follow your intuition, trust your gut, because you know where you want to go, and you know a lot more about what you need to do than anyone else right now, okay? Don't let anyone spoil your plans or put a Debbie Downer on your ideas, any of that. It is all about you. Now, with Strength Reverse, I think this is just a reminder to be gentle with yourself. You don't always have to put on a brave face. If you need to break down and cry in your car, like on a 15-minute break, do it. I can't tell you, when I started this job, I'm a news reporter, right? I did not go to school for news reporting. I had no clue what to do when I got this job, but I was just kind of thrown into the fire, and I cried, I think, for a straight 2 months in the back, in my car, and I would take little 15-minute breaks, and I would just sob, and I'd hate myself, and then I'd go back in and keep going. And I want you to know, there is no shame in breaking down and crying. That is just your body's natural way of releasing stress, okay? If you grew up in a household where they're like, oh, it's horrible to cry, like, screw that. That is just a family wound that has been passed down through the years, and you can be the person to break that. It might feel weird at first to cry, but weird doesn't mean bad. Weird is just different, and you get to decide whether it helps you or not. And I think there's just a message here of, like, be kind to yourself. You are going through a difficult time, and you are kind of lonely right now. Not everyone understands what you're going through. You're kind of up in the wind in a dark cloud trying to find your way to the light right now, and that's difficult. And if you need to cry, if you need to call out of work, if you need to disappear for 3 days, fuck it, do it. As long as you let the people important to you know that you're not, like, dead or anything, you know. Of course, be kind and practical in that manner. But if you need to do something for your own sanity, there's no shame in doing it. Like, there is no shame in doing what you need to do to heal. So, I hope that resonates. Let's go ahead and pull out our oracles. So, for something that is holding you back right now, we have the Pioneer with Trailblazer, Explorer, and Long Haul Driver, but it was in the reverse. And what I was being told whenever I drew this card initially was, you're scared of the destiny that you have in this lifetime, and that's totally okay. I think all of us can kind of get overwhelmed when we hear, oh, you have a big destiny, like big shoes to fill. That's scary, okay? And especially when we're kind of in the dark in this period of our life and we don't know where we're going, you're kind of like, are you kidding me? Like, how am I gonna get there? And I think it's important right now to remember that not everyone has gone through what you've gone through. You might be the first one to go through as many challenges as you have and have the goals that you have, but you are the trailblazer. You need to believe in your own power that you can get through this, that you can become the king. Because once you have that locked in your mind, that image of, I'm going to reach this goal and nothing's going to stop me, then absolutely nothing's gonna stop you. The only thing that will stop you is if you give up. And that's my strongest encouragement right now, is don't give up, no matter how hard it gets. Break down, cry, scream, punch the air, do what you have to do to get through the challenging times, but do not give up on your dreams, do not give up on your goals, because you guys will get there. I swear to goodness gracious, you guys have so much power, and I feel so, like, riled up. I just want to be your little hype man. I want you to know that you can do this. You can absolutely do this, guys. I believe in you so much, and Spirit believes in you, and I think that's why you're here. Like, I need to give you a little hype sesh here, okay? You have the power, you have the strength, even when it doesn't feel like it. Even when you're at your lowest, at rock bottom, where you can't get up, you have the strength. Not maybe to get up in that moment, but you have the strength once you're feeling that to get up. You can get there. So, as far as what will push you forward, we have the Dragon. Oh, I've actually never pulled this card, so I'm going to look in the guidebook to see what Spirit has to say. If I can find the guidebook. Oh, here it is. Okay. I have, like, so many decks around here. I wish you guys could see my filming setup. I'm in a pool of tarot decks and guidebooks. It's crazy. Oh my gosh, guys. So I've never pulled this before. I am brave. That is the overall message of the Dragon, is I am brave. Let me read this and then I'll get back to channeling. Oh my gosh, guys. This is why I love channeling. I'm again just gonna read a little passage from the guidebook, not the whole thing, but a little passage of this is pretty much what we've been talking about this entire time, and it's kind of got me with chills, okay? So this says, what Dragon is here to remind you What dragon is here to remind you, however, is that you are strong. You are strong enough to learn the lessons you need to in this lifetime, and are not defined by what others say or the fear they may try to instill in you. You are a child of divine love, and dragon will accompany you on your journey to keep you safe. It may even throw a rainbow or two your way to remind you of how magical you are. There's a journal prompt here, and it says, what are some positive things I can remind myself of when times get hard? And it can be hard to sit there and think of things you're grateful for when life is chaos and things are horrible. Some things I try to remind myself when things are horrible is, at least I'm breathing. At least I'm alive. At least I can go outside and look at the sun, not with my eyeballs, but feel the sun and breathe the air. I am alive. That's what's important. You are alive right now, and that is all that you can do. And I think this is a strong message of your spirit guides are going to be there every step of the way, even if you feel disconnected, even if you feel like they're not there, they are there. They are always protecting you, always shielding you, and always guiding you towards love and towards your destiny. Now, for your closing advice, we have hand fastings. The poles pulse through all that I am, no hidden form is left untouched. I am willing, I am risking, for I yearn for unity spilled lustrously upon my lips. And honestly, what I'm getting from this card is you're yearning for some sort of connection. And maybe you can find that here at Mellow Yellow Tarot, or maybe you can find that out in the world, at a support group, new friends. There are more people out there who want to see you succeed than want to see you fail. Or there are more people out there who want to support you than who don't, okay? It's just all about finding those people and letting the people go who aren't there to support you. But, alright, pile 3, this is what I have for you for today's reading. Thanks so much for sitting here with me. I know this was a bit of a tough message, a bit of a hype session here, but I love you guys so much, and I just want you to know you have so much strength, and you will get out on the other side. Okay, bye, pile 3. Have a wonderful day. Love you.